Hey guys, what's going on? Bobby here, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to take you guys on board of the final for round 4 of the SKUSA Winter Series at the AMR Motorplex Homestead Miami Speedway. I posted a lot of videos from this Miami trip. If you guys have been keeping up, there was a montage of just kind of the whole weekend. We had a vlog, a full-length vlog. We posted the onboard for round 3. And then after I posted the onboard for round 3, I received a lot of requests for people to want to see the round 4 video. And so today I'm going to bring that to you guys. I know this event was held all the way back in February, and now it's May. And with the current global situation with the whole COVID-19 virus, this has been the last race that I was able to actually compete in, which it sucks. But I think we, at least in the the greater St. Louis area, Illinois, Missouri, things are looking like they're on the downhill to where we're actually going to be able to get some racing going in. I know the Ignite Challenge Series will be going to Whiteland in mid-June, and hopefully the Gateway Carplex will be able to open up in that similar time span. So it's just kind of a matter of sitting around waiting to make sure that everything's going to be good once we get going. I know there's a lot of people that look at this whole situation one of two ways. And, I'm just happy that things are looking good and that we're able to, there's a light at the end of the tunnel that we'll be able to go back racing again very, very soon. But here we are going down the front stretch here. We're going to be starting behind Jed Perkins, and we're waiting for the green flag. We're in the start box, and we are going. Green flag is out, and we're going to see here where we cycle through. It looks like we're going to be going back to P8 for the moment. Eric Lodecky's going to get that good run on the outside line. We're going to tuck back in single file, and I think we're not going to waste a lot of time getting right back around Eric Lodecky. We're going to shoot right here to the inside into this corner, and we're going to get right back up to P7. So we're maintaining a little bit. It's a little dicey here on the early laps when we're all bunched up, but the field will spread out and it'll be more of an endurance race. 20 laps around this track is is brutal. I mean, I'm not the I don't get the opportunity to do a lot of races, especially at venues like this. So 20 laps, especially considering the shorter distance races that I'm used to at the Gateway Carplex, this was definitely a test of my physical abilities and my mental abilities. It's just equally as draining, physically as it is mentally. And then when you're going all over these curbs and stuff like that, you gotta have not a high pain tolerance. It's not super painful, but after the whole weekend, my ribs were kind of sore, because you're bouncing off these curbs. And as you guys can see, we've got this rear-facing camera that's new. I didn't have this for the round 3, but I have it for round 4. We strapped a couple different GoPros on for this session, and if you see the full-length vlog, we had these two angles, the front-facing and the rear-facing, and then we had an angle pointed in at the Hoosier tire on the front part of the chassis. So with this rear-facing camera, you can really get a good idea of all the G-forces and stuff like that are going on when I'm hitting those curbs. You can see my head bounce and everything. And another thing that I'd like to note too that I think is pretty interesting is I believe most of the Margay sanctioned events, whether it's Ignite Challenge or Ignite Series at the Gateway Carplex, or I guess it's just mostly maybe a lot of the club tracks that Ignite's associated with that I'm aware of, there's a pretty strict rule on wearing a neck brace. And for I don't know why this is the case, but SKUSA is mostly known for, I guess, a lot of 2-cycle stuff, so they do mostly like X30, Mini Swift, I guess, all that kind of stuff. So this 4-cycle stuff, it was kind of a blending of something that I think probably hasn't happened before, or I wasn't aware of, or this was kind of like a new opportunity for Ignite to come into something this big, this national series. So they adopted that rule set of no neck brace. So I wore a neck brace the entire weekend except for this last session, just because I just wanted to try it out, and I was testing out a different neck brace. It was kind of like a higher quality one. It's got a whole thing that it straps to your body to keep it from moving around, and I was testing it out, and I didn't bring my regular neck brace, and it was kind of uncomfortable, so I was like, you know what, this is my chance to try it without a neck brace. I really wouldn't recommend doing it, though. I am one of those people that like a rib protector is not required at most tracks. So at least for the adult classes, you have some of the younger classes where they require the armadillo, so that requires the chest plate and everything. As you can see here, me and Travis Milburn trying to work together here a little bit, trying to see if we can gain some spots up ahead. But you know, I don't really recommend not wearing a neck brace, but it was kind of weird. So that'll actually be able to kind of show you guys a little bit more of the forces that I experienced, since there's not a neck brace really keeping my head in check. So it's more like a bobblehead effect. So you'll really get to see what's going on there. And you can see the laser focus there. We're tucking down low, trying to get a draft. We're getting everything we can. I mean, this is the last session of the weekend, and we actually mounted this plate underneath the seat to help it, to protect it from bottoming out on some of these curbs, because there's been times even at Kartplex where if you take a pretty bad lick, and for a light guy like me with all the weight on the seat, it's pretty easy to break one of these fiberglass seats. So we put that plate underneath it, and I was doing things like hopping in the seat, trying to get the clutch to engage quicker, to try to get, you know, faster, you know, exit speed out of corners and stuff like that. And this is actually ended up breaking the seat, I think, on the very last lap on the front stretch to the finish line, trying to hop, trying to get the best advantage that I could to the line. So yeah, we went all out. We were going to leave everything out on the table and try to finish as best as we could, you know, for this last session. I believe we finished P8 in round 3. And that's when we had that, like I said, that sweet battle with Travis Milburn and Rockwell Seacrest. As I go to the inside, Travis Milburn, he's going to give me a point by. We're going to see if maybe it'll work a little bit better the other way around. Just kidding. And over under, Travis Milburn back to the front. And, you know, this, you'll see this pretty much. This is a common theme for the rest of the race. But a lot of the faster drivers, you can see they're pulling away. And then we're kind of, I think we're in our own little world right here. We can see here with the rear-facing camera, there's nobody really behind me right now. So, as you can see, we're not super fast right now, but we're not slow. So it was weird. You know, I mean, there were some races like you guys saw in round 3 where there was a lot of, you know, competition, a lot of back and forth racing, which was a lot of fun. I mean, as a competitor, you wish that you could just, you know, pass people and go for a good podium finish or a win. But you know, as far as a race where, you know, the whole Ignite series is based on spec. So, you know, we're all on the same chassis, all on the same tires, same engine. It's a sealed engine, so it was pretty cool that we were able to battle. I love that. You see that little tap on the back of the head and the point forward, trying to, hey, let's try it this way. I just don't think I was very consistent enough leading this charge. Not trying to spoil it, but, you know, I was trying to do everything I could to try to be as fast as I could to see if maybe, because sometimes with the gearing ratios too, if you got a guy that's on a different gear, like a longer gear, so he's not, you know, he's hitting a better top end speed, but he doesn't get that better of a run out of a corner. You kind of would like a guy that's got a better run out of a corner and not as much of a top end speed being the pusher, so that way you can kind of get the other guy up to speed quicker and then draft him, and you kind of are able to go a little bit faster in that kind of 2-cart tango situation. But I don't think that's what the case was. I know that I changed the gear, and I said it in the vlog. It's just like I said, I'm recording this in May, and this is going to get posted in May, and this was all the way back in February. So I don't really remember what I did with the gearing, but I know I changed the gearing. I probably shouldn't have. I think I ended up regretting that decision. But for those that also don't know, I didn't actually have a cart for this race. So once again, I just want to thank a couple different people, and I thanked them in the first video, but just in case people are watching this one, you haven't seen round 3, well, first off, I recommend watching round 3, but the people that I really want to thank for, you know, just their help to be able to make this trip work, because a lot of you guys know, I mean, my story, and like I want to do a podcast episode just kind of outlining my whole little racing career that I've had started. It's pretty impressive to see actually how far I've come, trying to, you know, look at it from a third-person perspective on everything that I've been able to do over such a short period of time. But for, you know, basically long story short, I started in rental carts, and that's all I could really afford. And then I was able to win a championship, you know, and I met a lot of awesome people, befriended a lot of people that I raced, and you know, I was able to win the 2017 championship, the iDrive championship at the Gateway Kartplex. And then I was able to run a Margay Ignite cart at the Kartplex in 2018. And then I was able to form a partnership with Margay, where essentially it's like, basically, I guess it's a trade deal, you'd say. So I do videos for them at major events, and then they were able to kind of keep me in the seat of a go-kart. So I've been doing that ever since. So 2020 is the year that I'm able to do Kartplex, and then I'll be able to do the challenge series whenever we get all that stuff going on. So I've just been very fortunate. You know, I don't know if it's being lucky. I don't know if it's being blessed, I don't know how much skill was involved, but racing is something that I've been really passionate about. So be able to have this opportunity, you know, and it's weird because you see a lot of the professional drivers, you know, of current times. They're getting their starts super young in karts, you know, 4 or 5 years old, even younger. And you know, at my current age, there's people that are racing, you know, top tier IndyCar or NASCAR that are my age. So it's kind of like one of those things where I wish that I could have had the opportunity to start at a younger age to see if that would have, you know, changed my path at all. But I've just been really fortunate. I mean, there's people with so much skill that are my age that are considered, you know, almost like too old to be able to really start a career in it. And you know, there's a lot of things that I've been working on behind the scenes that are like kind of looking up as far as, you know, just different opportunities to be able to do things. Those curbs just bouncing over them, and I don't, looking behind me, Travis Milburn is actually, we're kind of pulling away from him. So we're catching the driver ahead. I think that's Sola, I believe is his last name. Could be wrong. Not too sure. I don't really remember a lot of the names of people that I really never met before, and a lot of people towards the front are people that I never actually met. But we're kind of in limbo situation. We're trying to catch him, but I can't tell if we're doing it or not. We're running a pretty good lap time here, 58s. We started the weekend outside the minute point, and we had a lot of rain and stuff like that. So as the weekend went on, the track was able to rubber up, and we were able to, you know, get faster as the race weekend went on. As we're going to start getting the lap traffic here. Lap traffic played a big part in the round 3 race. As it seemed like Travis Milburn would get good runs and pull away from us, and then we would get to lap traffic, and he couldn't get around him as quickly as me and Rockwell could, and then we would all be bunched back up, and it was really cool. It was something that, you know, it's kind of like, I mean, this is multi-class racing, you know, this is master drivers, and not to say that some of the slower guys are out there just for like recreational purposes, but they're not out there to be as competitive, you know. We're kind of like somewhere in the middle. Like when I first started racing, like half of the reason that I wanted to get into racing and do go-kart racing and stuff like that was just to, as you can see, the lap traffic must have checked us up back to Travis Milburn a little bit. And yeah, that's the case. He's going to be the next driver in line behind us. But half the reason that I really got into racing was to be able to do this YouTube stuff. And it's been cool, you know. When I started doing the racing stuff, I was probably around 400 or 500 subscribers. So we've been able to grow the channel. You know, we're now over 1,000 subscribers, which is fantastic. Thank you all to everyone that's subscribed over this period of time. If you haven't subscribed, racing is obviously a big part of my life and what I'm very passionate about. So subscribe if you guys want to, you know, stay in tune with what I've got going on. And, you know, I'd like to do a bunch of different stuff. You know, I don't want to do just race day vlogs. It'd be cool to do like tips and tricks and stuff like that. You know, things that I would do for maybe like rental carters or, you know, private carters that are getting into it. I'm not, you know, at really the point. You know, I'm kind of in a weird spot right now where I feel like I've got the right equipment. I'm in really good stuff, and I know the cart. I know how to kind of maintain the cart a lot better than I used to. So I feel like I'm able to really mechanic competitively, but I'm still just struggling on being a very consistent driver. And it's one of those things where I get a lot of laps, but I don't really, I guess, put in the proper, you know, it's like one of those things, like practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect. And the practice that I do, I guess, really isn't necessarily, you know, as perfect as it could be. So I think it's just something that I've got to work on as a driver. And you can really see it here in Miami. I mean, you can look at the lap times that I run and compare that to an Evan Stommer or a Jed Perkins or even like a, you know, literally anybody else. And you can see like the graph. You know, you start out with a really slow lap time since it's your first lap and you got the pace and you're not hitting the start-finish line at full speed, and then everyone else like roller coaster deep dives down, and then it flat lines where they're running a consistent like 50, you know, high 57 in this case at this track maybe. I don't know really sure what the leaders were running, but it's all a consistent, you know, they're staying and they're hitting their marks and they're doing everything right. And then you can even see in this, like, this was the last session, so I was trying to put everything else, you know, put everything that I could out there on track. So some of the times I'm like jumping over this curb that we just went by down towards the front stretch. Sometimes I'm cutting it like I guess you should be doing, like we did that time. So I'm very inconsistent with the line, and that's just me trying to search for speed, trying to fight for everything that I can, because I don't really know what's working or not. I'm not really super comfortable. As you can see, I just ran a 59.014. That's 0.8 off my best. Like that's not very good. but you know, it's one of those things that I consistently try working on. And it's even the same thing with this whole situation that we're in. There's been a lot more sim racing going on, and I even see the same thing on iRacing where I'm not able to keep a consistent lap time. So like I said, it's just something I got to work on, and that's just one of those things of racing. That's one of the challenges, you know. And it seems kind of weird because there's a lot of people that don't have issues with racing; they have issues with setup, and I feel like I'm almost the opposite. I kind of have issues all over the place, but they're all minor issues, and every little bit in racing adds up. So that's one of those things. But real quick here, I guess we just started lap 15, so we've got we technically got 6 laps left, 75% through this race. And real quick, I just wanted to, you know, also I never really got a chance to. I don't think I really thanked anybody, but you know, Margay Racing, Skip Harbor Racing School, What's That Like podcast, 32 Designs. Those are all my current sponsors and partners that I have lined up for 2020. But for this event, to make this event possible, Greg Dingus, Mark Schwagen, Brendan Lauer loaned me the chassis, Austin Russell loaned me the bodywork, Brandon Moore, Jimmy Miller. I mean, all the guys under the tent that, you know, offered advice and tools and stuff like that. I did not come with tools. I was ill prepared for all that. So there was a lot of people under the tent that really helped me out. And really, Brendan Lauer, I mean, was one of the big, you know, driving factors. Between Brendan Lauer, Greg Dingus, and Mark Schwagen, those were the 3 that really helped me out a lot. But Brendan actually traveled with me. You know, he took time and money out of his own schedule to come down and come to Miami and want to help me out and hang out. And it was a fun time, you know. And me and him, we hung out at the racetrack between the sessions. He would help me change setups and stuff like that. He was filming for me the entire weekend, and we hung out every time after the track, you know. And we didn't do too lot, but it was just kind of cool. We had an Airbnb 2 blocks off of the beachfront in South Beach, which was about, I think, maybe a 45 minute drive to this track, which that kind of sucked in the mornings, you know, trying to get to the track early in the morning and having to wake up super early, like 5 or 4 o'clock in the morning. But the good thing about Margay being the first session on track was that we actually got done earlier, and I think on this day, like, this must have been like noon or 1 or 2 o'clock. So instead of the other guys that are running the 2-stroke stuff being stuck there till 5 or 6 o'clock, we were actually able to get out of there pretty soon. And I guess that's also the other perk of not finishing on the podium is not having to stick around. But sticking around for a trophy at SKUSA, you know, going all the way to Miami and podiuming would have been pretty cool, and it would have been definitely worth the wait. It would have been worth 3 times the wait to be able to get the trophies that they were giving out at SKUSA. They looked pretty cool. But yeah, so what, you know, we really didn't do too much. I think one of the nights we actually went to indoor kart track, K1 Speed. We hung out with some of the other drivers that were racing here. Alexander Shirley, Kayla Carlson, they were there. We just, you know, hung out. Not a big fan of the electric kart scene. I'd much rather like these gas powered things. I know that the marketing scheme that all the electric guys use is like, well, you want to smell like a lawnmower? And I mean, yeah, kind of do. I mean, that's kind of the pull, isn't it? Isn't that why people like going to NASCAR races? Because they can smell that burning Sunoco fuel. But and I really don't even really smell like fuel. I don't really get that concept, that marketing scheme. But unless you're splashing fuel all over yourself and all that stuff. But I've never had that happen to me. But yeah, we went to an indoor kart track one of the nights, and then most of the time we just kind of spent it, you know, checking out the different restaurants and bars across the beachfront. We went to a couple different places. Most notably, the first night we went to Finnegan's, which must be, I don't know if it's a Margay staple. I don't know. But we went to Finnegan's when I went here in January with the Margay team, and so we went there again. We went there the first night, and so we also went to a place called Sugar Factory, which was one of my favorite places. And if you saw the vlog, that was the place with the pretty patties. And then they gave me a duck. The duck still sits on my shelf with all my racing and shot glasses and my trophies and stuff like that in my room. I'm actually making eye contact with the duck, but that was definitely a really cool place. And any chance that I get to go to any major city where Sugar Factory's at, it's kind of like one of those you have to go places. It's just kind of a really cool experience, and they got some really cool foods and ice cream and shakes and stuff like that. There was a lot of different places that we went as well, and a bunch of different, you know, unhealthy food. But it was really cool. If anybody gets a chance to do one of these major events, you're usually going to a place with some pretty awesome nightlife and some pretty cool places to visit in the city. I know, like, especially when we go to Indianapolis. I mean, first off, you're going to Indianapolis. Like, if you're a race fan, you know, there's the history at Indiana or especially Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and with the Indy 500 and the racetrack. And, you know, if you're a Formula One fan, then there's a little bit there for you, obviously. IndyCar fans, there's a lot there. NASCAR Brickyard 400 event, you know, it's just like a race heaven. It's like the race capital of the world. As we come across here to get the white flag, we're going to see if we can get back up to Travis Mober and try to get maybe a P7 out of this deal. So we just ran a 59.1. We've fallen off. We've fallen off the pace here. I don't know what happened to poor little Bobby in this race, but it's not doing good. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool places that Margay will travel to, especially some of the I don't want to call it vintage karting arenas, but I think of like places like Quincy Park and Rock Island that are not necessarily, you're not going to a big city like Miami or Indianapolis, but there's just a lot of history there, and it's just a really, really cool track. I mean, it's like pretty much a street circuit, so that's even an extra level of awesomeness that you'll be able to get to do. So if anybody has any questions or wants to get in contact with somebody that can point you in the right direction if you're interested in doing an event like this, my email is down below in the description below. So shoot me an email, and I'll get you pointed in the right direction. Right here's where I break my seat. Watch this. I'm leaned in, and I start doing this hop. I don't know why. I mean, the hop isn't going to get me past Travis Milburn at that point. I should have been hopping like halfway through the lap. But yeah, that was round 4. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed the onboard commentary. And these are the finishing results. So finished 2 P8s is what we received on both the finals of round 3 and round 4 of the SKUSA Winter Series. Thank you guys for tuning into this video, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Hopefully the next karting racing related video will be up to date, and we will be back on track soon around the country. And my best wishes and best of luck to all the kart racers out there in their upcoming seasons.